This week, we're talking everyone's favorite topic. Say it with me. Layoffs and canceled games from a major company. Woo! This is the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, and with me is a man who can no longer distinguish the difference between Call of Duty and Fortnite, as Seth Rogen is now a playable character. It's my co-host, Mike. Mike, are you hitting dank no scopes?
Okay, hold on. Seth Rogen is a playable character in Call of Duty now?
You tell me.
No. Sounds like you're telling me, but also not telling me.
Yeah, I was trying to have a little ambiguity when I said is now a playable character, because I wanted you to sit there and have to try and think about it, because couldn't he just be a playable character in both? Isn't it completely indistinguishable, these two games, and how they just bring in? It's Call of Duty, by the way. He's in Call of Duty.
Is he also in Fortnite?
You know, I didn't take the time to do any research to figure out if he's ever been, via a Pineapple Express crossover or something like that, because they sometimes just have the most random, like, that thing has been dead for 20 years
Sure.
type injections. Splinter Cell. But did I hear a sigh?
Or a groan, whatever you want.
Did I hear an audible sigh? Yeah, groan might be a better word.
I didn't know. I don't know. It was a sigh.
just a defeated exhale.
Yeah.
Oh man. I didn't check, but couldn't you see it, you know? Wouldn't it be believable?
Wouldn't what be believable?
Seth Rogen.
You lost me.
Yeah, sorry. Seth Rogen in Fortnite.
Oh, yeah. Just hitting a bong emote. What else does Seth Rogen do?
I don't really get it. I mean, I know, like, wasn't Snoop Dogg in Warzone at one point, but I think Snoop Dogg is, like, I would call him gaming adjacent.
Yeah. At this point.
I think he, like...
I mean, basically every rapper from that generation is now, because they're making millions of dollars being bad at games every month.
Snoop Dogg's also been... he had a video game. Didn't he? Wasn't there like a Kung Fu game with Snoop Dogg? Maybe? I don't know.
I mean, Def Jam was like the rapping, like, street fighting game.
Okay.
Like, I think 50 Cent was in it. I think.
Yeah, but I thought there was something that was, like, specifically, like, just Snoop Dogg.
Maybe.
I don't know. Doesn't really matter.
There was a Burger King game for the Xbox.
Of course there was. What a time.
That was like a launch game too.
360 era?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, man. Look at what they took from us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Seth Rogen just doesn't make sense to me. And also, especially in like, I get it. I get the whole, like, adding these crossovers and stuff like that. But I feel like Call of Duty was still not goofy. I don't know. I don't know the word I'm looking for.
I'm following.
You get what I'm saying? And so once I saw Seth Rogen, I was like, wow, this... And then I put the words in your mouth and just said that you said they're indistinguishable, even though it was my thought, which is 9 times out of 10 the intro I give you.
I'm realizing that that's just kind of marketing in the modern era. Like, I was watching WrestleMania, what was it, 2 weekends ago? And I mean, everything was a fucking ad. I texted my brother because he's really into wrestling. and I watch like the Royal Rumble and sometimes WrestleMania. And like
Wait,
when
wait. You only watch the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania?
yeah, like those will be the only two wrestling events I watch every year.
Do you keep up with it at like to any other degree?
Absolutely not. It's very
That's
confusing.
that's so funny. That's literally that's like somebody being like, "Yeah, I watched Infinity War and Endgame." And it's like, "Did you watch any of the other movies?" And it's just like, "No, just those
No.
two." That's like the
Nope.
equivalent of only watching the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. That's awesome. That's incredible. I mean, the
I just
two
watch them for the
best,
spectacle.
yeah, the two best events for sure.
Yeah. Um and God, I can't even like think of the guy's name.
John Cena,
No, but
Seth,
probably also there was an ad in there.
Seth Rollins,
Seth Rogen?
Seth Rogen. He's in Call of Duty. I don't know if you knew.
No, I didn't. That's interesting. Shit, I don't know. I can't remember his name, but Drew McIntyre, that was his name. He like literally came out in attire for the new Doom game. And then like in his entrance, they had a statue of like the Doom helmet and a shield, and he literally just like walks up to the right of it and like puts his leg on it. And they do like an ad read for the new Doom game, like while his music is playing, while he's like at WrestleMania. And like he's an old guy, like he's been around forever. And I texted my brother, I'm like, he's got to be absolutely dying inside. Like
Yeah,
it's WrestleMania and he's a fucking commercial.
that's crazy. That's great. I can understand maybe an ad injection. Like an ad read from the announcers as somebody's like walking into like
Yeah.
because they used to do like they would do that for like. Also, don't forget tonight at 10 after Raw is Buffy the
Right.
Vampire Slayer. Like, tune in to an all new episode, right? Like, they would do that stuff, and like,
Sure.
it's somewhat seamless and like whatever, right? I can get that. Having him interact with a fucking prop. Oh my god,
Yeah.
I agree. He was probably dying inside. That's awful.
Yeah. No, it was so bad. I was like, it would have even been better if they didn't have the statue there and they just like gave him the helmet to put on to like wear down. Cause like it's not far from his character, but no, they literally just had him like
Ugh.
lean on a statue while they did the ad read, and then he got to continue walking down to the ring. And then like you get down to the ring and like the turnbuckles all have ads on it. The like ring mat has ads. They've got a fucking like rack of Prime to the right of the ring.
Yeah, man. Signage is everything.
You can tell there's like plants out in like the front row of like behind the ring that have like branded attire on. Like it's so bad. But anyway, where I'm going with this is like I guess this is how you market to the new generation. Like it's just an abundance of everything everywhere.
Yeah.
And now like we're seeing that with video and the crossovers too. Like they had um I can't remember his name either. So it's a not a good morning for me. Um, one of like the big rappers now who like they basically he basically has a character in WWE. Like he basically just like walked in at one point and like had a slow walk while they like basically did an ad read for like his album and all that kind of stuff. Like came down in the middle of the John Cena match and like interrupted it or whatever. Like you need to have those personalities in. Or like Logan Paul, how he's a wrestler now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so funny to me because I'm like, if we didn't have Logan Paul and, you know, all these other like musicians and personalities integrated into this ecosystem, could we just not have like ads fucking everywhere?
I mean, there would still be ads everywhere.
I'm sure because shareholder value, but
our eyeballs are too valuable.
Yeah. It's just crazy, and like, are video games becoming that too?
I think not to like sound the alarm. I think a little bit in the instances of these like free to play and live service and constantly being updated because like I'm sure that's how they're bringing in uh some sort of money
Yeah.
by creating these deals and stuff like that is yeah, it's just sponsorship ads. It's that's all it is.
Do you
um
remember? Sorry, go ahead.
no, so I mean I don't think we're at the point where we're gonna get the you like defeat a boss in Elden Ring, and when you go to your next campfire and save, like you're gonna get a 2 minute like YouTube ad, like
Yeah.
before you would watch it. I don't think we're there yet, but yeah, there's definitely like an attempt to try and do these like effectively seamless integrations. And that's
Do you
just where we're at.
remember, like, back in PS3 era when I think it was Ubisoft maybe filed some patent so like people could actually buy like live ad spaces in games?
I don't remember that.
So it was basically like their idea was during loading screens, people could buy ads, and it's like one of those things that you like they would have to pay subscription to since they could like patch the game and put in new ads. But they also talked about like in-game billboards. Like if you're in like a city, like
Mm-hmm.
even in like Splinter Cell, like if you're in like a cityscape and they have a billboard, like you could have your ad placed there, or like if there are TVs in game, like you could effectively have commercials on it.
Yeah.
Like I think that's something I think Ubisoft was talking about doing like almost 20 years ago now, and like there was like a whole riot about it. And it's just so funny to think about the progression and how they still kind of got what they wanted. They just
Yeah.
framed it differently and just like called them crossovers.
Yeah. It's funny too because to a degree, like think about like GTA, right? Where there's like so many billboards and like you have radio stations and like all this stuff that if they snuck in legitimate ads into those things, probably wouldn't even really notice or care all that much. But at the same time, wouldn't that destroy something that is like so charming about GTA? Like all the stupid billboards that you
Right.
pass, or like in like Cyberpunk, like the like the very over the top like advertisements that are like just poking fun at either real things or you know or the absurdity of the world that you're already in,
Yeah.
and like kind of driving that further. Like again, like you could have just a Mountain Dew billboard in Los Santos as you're driving around, or you can have what is it that like a chemical that is in bull testosterone or bull testicles, right? Is like in some energy drinks, and you can have a billboard that kind of
Mm.
like makes fun of that or whatever, right? And like
Yeah.
which is better? It's like either is fine and will more often than not go unnoticed. But crazy. So anyway, what
Well,
games
that
did
was
you
a
play
whole
this
lot of
week?
time on a new topic. Well, I was trying to defer because I didn't play shit this week, but yeah, I didn't play a goddamn thing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh well,
Damn.
I was barely home.
Yeah, that's fair. Um, I can't really report much better. But uh, Shelby and I have continued Ocarina and still really enjoying that. So um, having a lot of fun playing the Zelda games and very happy that we decided to dive into them. And as far as, I mean, you gave your update basically on Super Mario Sunshine. To give an
Yep.
update, to give an update on Red Dead. Um, past couple of weeks, I really considered playing it. Right.
Yeah, as
This
you do.
this past week, I plugged my PS3 in, not only to a power source but also to my TV. So I believe it is HDMI 2. So it is, yeah, it is ready. So that much closer as we are now a full month into the next quarter of the year. So anyway, to talk about some good news before we get into what is very clearly bad news that I touched on at the top. I sent this over to you real quick before we started. Kind of an interesting thing that doesn't happen too often. Borderlands 4, I don't know if you saw this, I don't know if you heard about this. Borderlands 4 had its release date moved up. It's going to be
Wow.
releasing earlier than originally expected. I believe it was originally slated. Let me get the actual date here real quick. Please hold. It was originally slated for September 23rd. It's now coming out September 12th. That's an 11-day jump, move forward, which is, that's it's not nothing.
Yeah.
And obviously, it got people speculating. Uh, Gearbox is under Take Two, and so there's speculation around potentially trying to uh, move Borderlands 4, which is like a pretty, I would say, a pretty big gaming franchise. It definitely has a base.
Mhm.
And try and move it in to ensure that you still capitalize on that base outside of a potential GTA window, because I think, again, everybody is very aware of the monster that GTA 6 is going to be. Um, you know, I will say, to that point of trying to avoid the release of other games, just last week I brought up, or 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the Oblivion remaster, uh, I brought up how Claire Obscure is also going to be releasing. Could we see some interference? I was definitely much more negative on it and was like definitely more worried about it. And I don't know if you saw, but uh, obviously Oblivion has gotten its flowers a billion
Mhm.
times over because of the remaster and how much people are enjoying it. But Claire Obscure has absolutely crushed. It's sold, I think, over 1 million units, like
Ooh.
excluding Game Pass players. So not even including that player base, which I'm sure plenty of people are taking advantage and are eating very good with both the Oblivion remaster and Claire Obscure coming there. People will not shut up about it. People are claiming that turn-based RPGs are back, which people said that last year with Metaphor. People said it the year before with insert another game, and yeah, people have been saying it. So they've been back, but they've never gone away. But anyway, it's been really great to see. So maybe not as big of a worry as you would need to think, but also GTA 6 again is a totally different beast. But have no fear, known loser Randy Pitchford jumped on it to make sure people knew that Borderlands 4 is 100% the result of confidence in the game and development trajectory, backed by actual tasks and bug find / fix rates. Our decision is literally 0% about any other product's actual or theoretical launch date. Okay, Randy.
Randy.
Um, I feel like this is absolutely because of GTA, and him running defense like this is not going to convince me otherwise. What say you, Mike?
What's your opinion again?
My
Just
opinion
trying to
is
see if I can better
my opinion is that
it.
Borderlands 4 is moving up because of GTA 6.
Yeah, it's moving up because of GTA 6.
No matter how much defense he tries to run. And
Well,
I'll go even a step further. Borderlands 4 is moving up because of GTA 6, and it's going to hurt the game because of it, because it's again, 11 days is not nothing. So
yeah. I mean, that's significant. I would love to know how much crunch they had to do to accomplish that. Not that this is the good crunch, bad crunch podcast.
not
That was
again.
2020's theme.
Not again. Yeah, crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like seeing that they're kind of under the same umbrella. It's. I'm positive they're moving it up because of GTA.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, we technically don't have a full release date, but even Insider Gaming, you know, who kind of pulled in the news about Borderlands getting moved up, they even noted that, like, if GTA 6 is going to come in 2025, October is likely when it would release. I want to say GTA 5 was like October 13th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Back in 2013. Uh, so that would roughly give a full month of time for people to enjoy Borderlands 4 before a very, very steep drop off happens. Um, Thought that was interesting. Thought that was fun to note.
You know what else is fun to note?
Uh
The absolute balls of Sucker Punch to say goes to Yotai October 2nd.
oh. They said we know what we have.
Yep.
We know what we have, and we know we'll be fine. And they're right.
I think they will.
Yeah, yeah, they're absolutely right.
Mm.
I'm honestly surprised that it's like so concrete already. Um,
I
since we
I
only
feel
just
like
started to like hear about it.
yeah, but you want to make a statement
Mm-hmm.
when everyone else is like, "Oh, we don't know if we're gonna do it, before GTA or after GTA," or not, saying that out loud
Mm-hmm.
necessarily, but there's a lot of delays. Um, I think it certainly gets some attention to say, probably same release window as GTA 6. And people are going to play the hell out of it.
Yeah, oh,
I was
yeah,
at a bachelor party this weekend and we talked about Ghost of Yotai more than GTA 6.
yeah. Because in some ways, doesn't it feel like GTA 6 is just like only an idea? You know,
Yeah.
like it's not. It doesn't feel real yet.
Right.
And it's crazy that, like, again, we believe it's coming out this year, but we actually don't fully know yet. And yeah, so maybe Borderlands moved up because it didn't want to be so close to Ghost of Yotai. Ever
Yeah,
consider
let's
that?
let's open that can of worms.
Yeah. um
I don't personally care because I'm not going to play Borderlands 4, but
no. No.
no, that was a good reaction.
We tried playing Borderlands way back.
We did, we
and
did.
uh and
You
then we
play about an hour of that game and you pretty much get the point.
and then we stopped. And I think that's as ringing of a review as we can give it. All right. Shall we talk some unfortunate and some bad news now?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Then we will not talk about how EA has reportedly laid off somewhere between 300 and 400 people, which
Oh, Bloomberg
includes.
reported 600.
Uh-oh.
Sorry to interrupt.
While you chase that
Sorry.
down, again, Insider Gaming is quoting Bloomberg as saying somewhere between 300 and 400 people from our good friend Mason Sherbert. which does include, there was a previous report before, the 300 to 400 was announced that 100 people were confirmed to have lost their jobs after 2 games were canceled at Respawn. The creators of Apex and Titanfall as their notable games.
Okay, so it looks like it is 300 to 400, and potentially that was edited at some point.
Okay.
So I remember I got the notification on my phone yesterday when it came through, and I was pretty certain it said 600. So it could be that they adjusted it. Still,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
a lot.
300 to 400, this article is saying that roughly 2,000 jobs across 60 companies as of this year right now, is the current impact. 2,000 jobs lost, to be clear, sorry. So 300 to 400, now that's a sixth of that total number. Yeah, it's not insignificant with where we're currently at. So it's also just not an insignificant number no matter what. I mean, anything more than 1, right, is always like tough.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the thing that kind of strikes me the most and is just kind of like, again, the unfortunate state of affairs of gaming right now. One of the games that was cut was an extraction shooter set in the Titanfall universe. And I just like, I never played Titanfall.
Great game.
That's all I've ever heard. All I've ever heard is that Titanfall and Titanfall 2 were both, very good games. Those weren't extraction shooters, right? Those were very much in the same vein as like your Call of Duties and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I feel like people have been clamoring for a new Titanfall game for so long, with the understanding of like, yeah, Apex is obviously huge, so we understand that resources are going towards that, and that's fine. But man, another Titanfall game would just be so great. That's all you ever see. I don't ever remember people asking for an extraction shooter. And I always think it's so funny that like you see this like unwillingness to continue a franchise or to work with a franchise or to stay in universe and stuff like that. And then when they finally cave, they go about it the wrong way. I don't get it. Like what are we doing?
Maybe they're afraid of Marathon.
And so like maybe, right? But again, why were you making an extraction shooter in the first place?
Right.
If at the first sign of another competitor you were going to fold, like,
Which is also crazy because I feel like a Titanfall extraction shooter would do really well. Like I'd be interested in that.
Right,
like,
but
not only can you get go ahead.
No, finish your thought, sorry.
I was say not only can you get like stuff for your individual character, but you can also like get upgrades for your mech. Like that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I get it, but also like why not just make a Titanfall game?
Yeah.
Like if you were clamoring for NAC 3, all right, stay with me. All right, don't hang up. You're clamoring for NAC 3. You want a third NAC game. You feel like there's more for them to explore in the NAC universe. And if they were like, we've heard your cries, we're going to make another NAC game, introducing NAC 100, a battle royale game featuring all your favorite characters from NAC, wouldn't that make you want to strangle someone? Like, how did you miss the point of what we've been asking for? That's kind of where I fall on it. I hear you, like an extraction shooter could be cool, but it just feels like let's tilt away from, let's give people technically what they're asking for, but do it in a way that we feel like will monetize the best and provide the most shareholder value. it feels like they saw Escape from Tarkov and said, "Oh, we can make that. We can make it better, and also we can slap Titanfall on it, and people will go crazy." And
Right.
they're probably right with that like line of thinking, which is also unfortunate. Um, but damn, like it's just frustrating to see that like there they were working on a Titanfall game like people wanted, and that's the thing that gets put on the chopping block. And the whole like reasoning is because they want to put like more time and resources into Apex and like the Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, that line of games. And that sucks. It sucks that like it feels like so many companies are having to be like so narrow focused, so narrow minded, so one track minded in the games that they're working on, that like any attempt at trying something new is such an uphill battle.
Yeah. Well, and the thing that I think really disappoints me about the industry right now is you now have 300 to 400. I'm going to say collectively talented people that are just going to sit out there because it's impossible to get the capital to start a new studio.
Right.
So hopefully some of these people go into some passion projects and indie dev, and like, yeah, there's not really a whole lot of money there at this point, but those we're seeing those frequently be the better games, and maybe your IP gets bought up. But yeah, it's just so weird to be in such a surplus in such a specialized industry of talent. You know, it'd be nice to see some new studios open.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also frustrating because like you're saying, like now you have 300 people that you found to be um let's say redundant, like they there's nowhere to put, there's no project to put them on anymore. There's nothing. What
Mm,
else can you do? You gotta it's a business, you gotta run lean, right? But EA is definitely one of those companies that, mark my words, the if back to when we were talking about variable pricing, if GTA decides to try and do the $100 price point, which they can and will, and they would get away with, and
yep.
people would do it, people would pay for it. EA would be one of the first companies to then go, oh, we're doing $100 games now, and they would try it, and that would be that. Whether it would work for them or not, yeah, I won't sit here and try and think about it, but it's like, so you can charge more, uh but like where's that money going? What's that going towards? Certainly not another Titanfall game.
No, no. Hmm. I'm trying to find the silver lining here. You know, I don't think I necessarily hate now what have become the Goliaths of the gaming industry, kind of just becoming like the um like Ubisoft becoming the Assassin's Creed company, EA becoming the Star Wars company, um, which I don't think is horribly sustainable, but we'll see. Um, and like the sports company, and I would love to see Haze Light get away from EA, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, maybe this is all a good thing because they're not holding up this talent anymore, and we'll start seeing people take some risks again. And I don't know. Clearly, all I'm seeing from this is the model of big gaming, for lack of better words, does not work.
Yeah.
It's been a failed experiment, but like I think Ubisoft, EA, who else? They're the main culprits at this point, right?
Yeah.
Um, that model's just not working, and now they have to kind of they're too far gone that they just have to basically consolidate to They're money makers.
Yeah, I mean, it's like on one hand I get it, but on the other, it's like nobody gives enough room for like new ideas to just like try and run, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's
It's
no
too,
guessing in the industry anymore either.
right, like
There's no
it's too
like
much of an
it's chasing
unknown.
trends.
Yeah, it's too much of an unknown, so we're just going to go the safe route. We're just going to go the
Right.
comfort route. Yeah, we're seeing steady declines in our sales across the franchise, but we're still seeing sales. We can still, assume, some amount of sales and revenue
Mhm.
and so on, you know. So we shouldn't try that new idea. Let's just take the win over there, as much as you can call it one,
Yeah.
and and shelve that idea for something else, for a rainy day. We'll spin up that project once we have a surplus of employees, and then we'll decide to just cancel it. We'll get cold feet. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, very frustrating.
Yep.
And also, I think we're still not at a point where like we're gonna see this slow down in any way, shape, or form. Like the bubble is like kind of still bursting. Uh, doesn't really feel like there's like a fix or an end or anything any coming anytime soon, which sucks.
No. No, I don't really know. I don't really know what it looks like at this point.
But I will say, and I think we've talked about this plenty. There is so much value, out there in terms of like where you can like spend your money on games. And it's probably worthwhile at some point for us to really take the time and like dive into some indie games. Some we'll say less than $40 uh, games that you can put your money and get endless amounts of entertainment from, instead of
Mm-hmm.
needing to rely on Ubisoft to provide you another Assassin's Creed or Far Cry game, instead of needing to rely on the 10-year life cycle that is GTA before you get another one. Um, it just sucks that there's so many games that don't get the attention. It's still all the attention and marketing and everything like that is still wrapped up with the big dogs. Um, yeah, just keep that in mind. As like prices may tend to go up, you probably won't see a ton of indie developers try to take a shot at your wallet. They'll still be as humble as they always are.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you have any other final thoughts on EA?
No.
All right, well done. Believe that'll do it for our news section of the show this week. In case you didn't know, though, Mike and I avid fans of The Last of Us, so we'll be doing a little dive into our thoughts on the newest episode of The Last of Us season 2. But in case you don't want any spoilers, just a real quick wrap. Thank you, for listening, and as always, if you could leave us a rating or review wherever you do listen to the podcast, that would be greatly appreciated. And now, Mike, let's talk about season 2, episode 3. What were your thoughts?
I think it was a good setup episode. Um yeah, I guess that's it. I guess it was just one of those necessary episodes. I enjoyed I I enjoyed the little things of like how they kind of integrate some stuff from the game that I think people who didn't play the game wouldn't necessarily like catch or have an appreciation for, like when they're riding the horse through the woods and they're just like playing a game.
Yeah.
Um, I was shocked though that they stopped at the letter O. 'Cause I thought they'd do P and do a
For
Pearl
Pearl
Jam
Jam.
reference.
I thought so
Yeah.
too. I thought that too. That's really funny.
I also expected, so the first episode was called Future Days. And I was like, oh, I wonder if Joel's gonna like I wonder if they're actually gonna integrate that song into this game.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't. That was sad. Poor Pearl Jam.
I mean, they're headed towards Seattle, right? So,
Yeah.
we're
You guys see the
bound
lightning bolt posters?
we're bound to get some at some point, right? Come on. Um, I really like the thing I'll point out about the show. I really like that the wow, I'm blanking on the town that they're in.
Jackson?
Jackson. Thank you. I really like that the town
Welcome.
is like a character, effectively. Like the
Yeah.
the town has so much more life to it. Uh, like people actually have like a voice and everything. More so than necessarily in the game when you're so much more focused on like a few key players of the town and its setup and stuff.
Yeah.
So I really like that change. That's a tweak that I like and definitely think is beneficial for integrating this as a show. So that's the one like tweak that I've definitely been a huge fan of. They had the whole town hall scene where people got to say why they thought it was a good idea to go after Joel's killers, or why it wasn't a good idea. And I really really liked that, and I thought it was a good like shaping of Ellie's character, and everything like that. Instead of just like being told no, and then by being told no by one person, and then
Hmm.
deciding to just go against that person's word. So yeah, I really liked that change.
Did they do that in the game? Or is
In
that what you're saying? They didn't
it,
do that like town council thing.
right, there was no council in the game.
Okay.
It was literally just uh, Dina and Ellie. I think they talked to Tommy, but then they talked to Tommy's wife, Maria.
Yes. Okay.
They talk to her because she's like the head of the town in the game, and it's not like a council of people who. It's literally like it feels like she's the governor basically,
Yeah.
and she's like, no, you're not going after them, and then they sneak out and go after him. At least that's me remembering the game. So
Yeah,
it's
that
been a
sounds
minute,
right.
but I'm pretty sure that's basically it. And
I had the sorry, go ahead.
no.
I had the memory that it's been 5 years since I've played this game. And I'm
Crazy.
like, wow, I really thought I'd remember all this. Like I just played this game. No, it was 5 years ago.
Yeah. I kind of think that's good, right? Because I think I said it last week where it's like I'm itching to like play it again, but also I think I'm gonna wait till after the season is done,
Yeah.
so that way I'm not over analyzing things. I think it's like nicer, uh, if that's the right word, to like be a bit more blind and like kind of see like what specifically stands out as like, oh yeah, I remember that, right? Like the whole Abby scene at the lodge, right? You're like, you can vividly remember that from the game, but some of the other stuff, kind of like slip through the cracks a little bit of your mind. And yeah, so I'm kind of interested to see like what else like truly will stand out. And I'm like, oh wow, that's like 1-to-1, and what things may be 1-to-1, and I just don't realize it.
Yeah.
But um, yeah, that's again, I like how they gave like the town the whole like council thing, and like made it feel like that much more of like an active community
Yeah,
in
that's
the
a good
show.
read.
And because they did that with last episode 2 as well, by making the decision to have Tommy stay back to fight alongside the town instead of it's him and Joel at the lodge. um I felt like that was like a good change,
Hmm.
to kind of show the importance of Jackson. But we also got to look at the Seraphites. Kind of something again that like doesn't really happen in the game. You don't get like a cutscene where it's just them walking and talking, and you start to kind of understand this like weird, just like another group that exists in this post-apocalyptic world. Um, and so I'm also interested to see how they like integrate stuff like that throughout the show, because again, you don't really get opportunities like that too much in games. So I'm interested to see how they do that.
Yeah, it would be kind of interesting to see them like actually breathe a little more life into that group. Like you kind of I feel like in the game you have to like find like, I'm just gonna call them collectibles kind of generically here to kind of understand,
Mm-hmm.
like start to piece together what they're about. Like I don't think there's, like you said, ever a cutscene where they're like, we're the Seraphites and this is what we believe and all this kind of stuff. You kind of have to like figure it out piece by piece. Like that, I don't think that necessarily plays well on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think, yeah, kind of doing cutscenes where it's just them, because since you don't have to, there's no playable character in the scene. So
I'm curious if we'll get like a full blown episode dedicated to I can't remember character names, but the Seraphite that ends up working alongside Abby.
yeah,
I wonder if we'll get a full episode dedicated to them, um, either this season or potentially next, just depending on how they decide to like break up the overall story.
hmm,
Let me see if I can find the character that I'm talking about. Lev.
yes,
So yeah, I'd be interested to see, there's a lot of like interconnecting stories and stuff like that. And again, like the whole idea of turning this into a show might allow you to actually breathe a little more life into some of those characters. Um, and like, yeah, kind of like flesh out their story a bit more, and show it more than you would typically a secondary character in a game. So the opportunities there, you think about what they did with Bill, right, in the first season, and like the whole
hmm,
episode that they gave there, allowing you to do something like that is what's so cool about adapting this into a TV show. The
I
the more they don't try to just do a 1-to-1, um, in some ways the better.
yeah. Well, it's kind of cool because they can kind of reward the people who have played the game
Yep.
with like those supplemental episodes. Like we learned way more about Bill and ended up being probably the best episode of the first season.
Yeah.
Again, that's coming from someone who played the game, knew what was going to happen. It was nice to have something that you didn't necessarily get insight to in the game. So yeah, I mean, I think Lev is that same character
Yep.
model. Important to the game, not a leading character,
Right.
but enough background that um, it's warranted its own episode, and I think it's also pretty telling about the Seraphites too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you basically have somebody who's I don't know if in exile is the right word, but you learn about their beliefs.
Right.
So it'd be cool to get that extra background for Lev because it was just such a good character
Yep.
in the game.
100%. Yeah, it'd be cool to see how they continue to move forward there. But yeah, agree. Episode 3 definitely was a a building block episode, right? Like
Yeah.
one of those to like really fill you with some a lot of information, really. And yeah, I'm excited to keep watching this season and see where they go with it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, cool. Well, then that will be it for the rest of this episode. So if you stuck around for it all, thanks again for listening. Like I said before, if you could leave us a rating or review, it'd be greatly appreciated. And if you could share the podcast with a friend, that would also be great. And other than that, we'll talk to you next week.